Let's talk about bricks, shall we? Should we talk about the vanillas that we play and the high risk versus high reward factor of including these in your deck? I wanted to make a guide talking about vanillas and why the necessity of vanillas are risk versus reward when you draw these cards, and why the particulars of these cards being included in your deck might not be the best for the competitive scene. So let's dig on into this, shall we? Like this video to show your support. Haha. So classic vanillas. Alright. So for those of you that are like, why I'm new to the game, why do I not want to play my Blue Eyes White Dragon, not in my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck, or why can't I play classic Dark Magician, Splash, and anything else? There are exceptions to the rule, Dragoon of the Red being one of those. So let's talk about typically the history of vanillas seeing play in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. Classically, we used Gem Knight Garnet. Garnet is probably one of the oldest examples here. So Garnet is often referred to as a brick, as it is a singular 1900 card that does nothing to benefit your deck strategy except being a requirement for a combo piece. Alright, the combo piece being Brilliant Fusion. Alright, so Brilliant Fusion was this high risk versus high reward card that granted you the ability to get an additional normal summon in your deck, which an additional normal summon on a basic combo deck is amazing. Alright, getting the ability to have that extender to continue on with your line of play, whether or not you're putting your 4th, 15th, 20th summon on the field. The more you can do in a deck, the better. And often vanilla monsters can take away from that unless they are being used as part of the reward. Alright, hence the risk versus reward of these vanillas. So as we were talking about, our friend Mr. Garnet here allowed us, at the end of the day, his card deck said, play me in your deck, I give you an additional normal summon, and if you draw me, I'm a 1900 normal monster. Alright, that's fine. Alright, now, let's talk about your favorite other friend in the world, Blue Eyes White Dragon. So here's the thing with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes himself is a 3000 monster that, when in the graveyard, you can revive it to have a 3000 beats deck. While in your hand, you can use it as trade-in fodder as a potential draw 2. Resource creation is very key in this game, alright, especially if you're going into the competitive scene. Blue Eyes in your hand also acts as a cost to be fueled with the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. Now, the downside to Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon is he does nothing but allow himself to be summoned and out a potential monster on the opponent's field. Correct? You get that ability to interrupt and destroy. That's what we're going for here. So, being a piece of a key engine is the difference between being a worthless brick and being part of the risk versus reward strategy here. As you've seen already, Blue Eyes does basically allow the deck to function by being a vanilla. It is a part of the strategy. Now, in the case of, I just want to play Blue Eyes in my deck, you have to look at it this way. Does Blue Eyes in any way do anything to improve my deck strategy? Drawing a level 8 3000 attack monster that you don't have any Blue Eyes cards or synergy in your deck is not the correct thing. And the downside to this is, well, you've just drawn a card that has no potential effect. That's the difference between casual Yu-Gi-Oh! And competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive, we look at our cards and we choose to value them for the most of their resources, versus Blue Eyes White Dragon that does not have a singular effect, nor does it have any use to us in our hand. Now, in the Blue Eyes deck, in its own deck, it does have a potential use. Now, we use Dark Magician here as another example for this, okay? Dark Magician, outside of its deck, does have a merit, alright? There is a high risk versus high reward for that, but Dark Magician inside of its deck needs Dark Magician to function. Most of the cards do require a Dark Magician in name, and the basic functionality of, well, I need to revive my ultimate spellcaster in terms of defense and attack. So basically, Blue Eye Syndrome here, alright? You need this card to function in the best way possible. Now, where the Dark Magician actually derives from Blue Eyes is the competitive scene has found the high risk versus high reward for this. For playing 3 vanilla cards in my deck, 1 Dark Magician, 1 Red Eyes, and the 1 Red Eyes fusion, I get access to Dragoon of the Red. And you're probably like, ooh, Dragoon. So Dragoon is this up-and-coming card that gives you the ability to negate a card, the ability to Ring of Destruction a card, which pinging your opponent for damage to close the gap on the game, and giving himself a increase in attack points. This card, for the competitive scene, is viewed as a very powerful card. It is a card that, depending on how the game flow is going, you can turn the tide of the game basically by having this on the field because it produces results. We have the risk versus the reward. The risk is we have a Red Eyes and a Dark Magician in our decks that functionally do nothing when they are drawn. They serve no purpose other than to A, be discard fodder, to B, not be summoned ever because they are 2 tributes. Versus the Dragoon of the Red over here that once produced can have negates, has an attack increase, and has a destruction effect. All are very important effects. In terms of risk versus reward, for playing these 2 vanillas, I'm creating the potential for 3 very interesting effects that are very game-changing for the competitive team. And that's where we get into the valuement of these vanillas. Now, these cards, totally worthless. Alright, that's the moral of this video. Alright. If you are a casual player and you're playing these cards, you have to understand that these cards, competitive players value everything for a worth. Pot of Greed, one of the most insane cards in the game. It creates 2 resources, and it's a self-replacement card that grants you a +1 resource. That is insane. Alright? Now, if you activate Pot of Greed and you draw Dark Magician and Red Eyes, you have a little thing that we call the worst luck in the world, okay? And now Pot of Greed is very basic card management for this. And, card management is a whole nother topic. I just wanted to kind of touch on it in here, in addition to explaining the bricks for this, because the bricks do nothing to increase your deck strategy, except in the case of where they are needed in the strategy, which we go back to reference for the Blue Eyes, okay? The Blue Eyes creates, the engine in which you need it to play the deck. If you don't have Blue Eyes, your deck can't function. So you are being forced to play this brick and a means to be able to functionally play the deck. Or in the case of we are using a splashable engine of 3 cards in addition to the other 37, 47, however many cards that we're choosing to play in our deck for the ability to get that value. Alright, which is very, very good. Alright, I cannot stress the value management that Dragoon gives to us. Alright, so moral of this video, once again, managing your bricks in your deck will be the difference between casual to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Understanding that card effects are very important and crucial to the development of the game. Just because a card does not have an effect does not mean that it is worthless, but you have to understand that it will not always be useful in every single situation that it presents itself. And I think that that's very important to understand when coming from casual into competitive in terms of just card management, understanding why X card is important to my strategy, understanding that I'm playing this because we are dealing with this X card in today's format, and just because Blue Eyes White Dragon has 3,000 attack points does not mean that it is a better card the man in your bug. Alright? Remember that. Alright, duelist? So guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about this video. A very different video for me today, but I hope that this is entertaining, to say the least. Alright guys, I'm out. Peace. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.